Hello YouTube and welcome back. In the last episode, we caught Articuno and Moltres at the Seafoam Islands and Victory Road. In this episode, I met you at Rock Tunnel because this is going to be where we're headed for our third and final bird. We could have done, like with Articuno and Moltres, we could have done this much later, but honestly, I didn't really even feel the need to come here because the only reason to come here is the final bird. And since I wasn't going to do anything with it, I'm like, what's the point of me going there? It doesn't do anything. So I just figured I'd make this part of the post-game. But it is an area we have yet to be. We have yet to explore. Are you a trainer? How weak are your Pokemon? Oh, how weak are your Pokemon? I'm the Kanto champion, dude. What do you got? Pokemaniac Mark. Rhyhorn. What level is this Rhyhorn? Like, well, we have Surf, so it's got to be like 30. Also, I have Coco up front. I didn't really mean to have Coco. Well, no, wow, he's actually decently leveled. I did not expect to fight Pokemania Mark. I guess you were supposed to come. I mean, obviously, you were supposed to come here much earlier, but whatever. Oh, right, I was going to start with Coco because this last one, honestly, I'm the most scared of. I didn't even see what he's using. Because his typing, I am not good at fighting. Like the others, it's a bird, so he's weak to rock. But the one rock Pokemon I have, the one rock attack I have, is weak. The Pokemon himself is weak to the Pokemon main type. Yeah, it's an electric type. I'm just gonna spoil it. It's an electric type. You're gonna see in 5 seconds that it would be an electric type. So Cruiser would be terrible at fighting an electric type because yeah, he has Rock Slide, but the electric Pokemon is just gonna use an electric type move. So my plan was to start with Coco and just kill it with statuses. We can't paralyze it, but we can burn it, which will whittle down its health, and then we can Glitzy Glow and protect ourselves from the electric type attack. So I think that just makes a lot of sense, and Coco just might be able to do it anyway. But okay, you're just a master trainer. You get to see one of the Pokemon that I have. Power Plants. I think this place is really cool. I mean, it has electric types, which I like in general. But I don't know. I've always liked this place. Again, electric types, and it's starting with one of my favorite electric types of Kanto, Magnemite. Like I said, I've always liked Magnemite. I just find it really endearing. It's the simple design Pokemon that like I actually like, because everyone has like those simple that really aren't complicated. Like he's a magnet basically. But he's not just a magnet. Like, Magnemite always gets lumped in with the other object Pokemon, which I can see why, because he's mostly object. He's a metal ball with magnets. But, like, he's got screws. Like, you don't just see a Magnemite around. Like, yeah, you see magnets, you see screws, and if you screwed some screws into a metal ball and put some magnets, yeah, you could see that. But, like, I don't know, Magnemite himself, I always felt like it's just, like, a little more interestingly designed than the other objects. Like, Voltorb, besides, like, is just a Pokeball. There's really nothing to it. It's just a Pokeball. Like, Trubbish and Garbodor, just trash. Yeah, I don't hate Trubbish or Garbodor, but, like, you get the idea. The ice cream Pokemon, just ice cream. Yeah, they're Pokemonized versions with eyes, but, like, you remove the eyes, they're just the thing. I feel like Magnemite is just a little more interesting. I don't know. That might just be my justification. Hey, another electric Pokemon I really like. I really thought about coming here earlier because I really do like a lot of the Kanto electric types. I even like Voltorb and Electrode. I think it would have been really cool if Electrode either got an evolution or got a Mega, more likely, that was a different Pokeball type. Because Electrode's thing is that they swapped the red and the yellow, which to me doesn't make any sense. Because what the frick does that do? Also, look, we have 353 Pokeballs, but there's no freaking point in using them because unless you're catching really weak Pokemon, why are you catching really weak? I'm sorry, I have to catch myself because I started talking about this stupid catching mechanic again. But what was I even saying? I genuinely forgot what I was even saying. Oh yeah, Electrode. I really think it's like in Mega with its thing. With its using a different ball could be cool. Anyway, if a major power urge occurs, it is certain that this Pokemon has eaten electricity at a power plant. I really like Electabuzz. Again, Electabuzz, Magmar, and Jinx I always really liked. Both as I didn't need to run as a trio. Ha, Magneton trio. I don't really need to catch Magneton. I've always liked them as a trio, and then in which, in fact, I don't even know if I've talked about this. I'm talked to my friends about it. I'm sure anyone who will listen to me, I've talked about it. But it's weird that coach trainer's here. I could have fought you way earlier. The event of Powerland is the second last desired place for the trainer to be assigned to. Now where I am, I'm going to do my job. Who's the? Oh, I think it was the Pokemon. I think it was Pokemon Tower. Wow. I'm sorry if you could hear that. Freaking motorcycles. But yeah, I can't be the only one that always saw Magmar, Electabuzz, and Jynx as a trio. And then in Gen 2, they all got baby forms, which continued the fact that they're like a trio. Because they're humanoid, they're all pretty rare, and they're kind of special Pokemon. I think Magmar and Electabuzz were even version exclusives. But then in Gen 4, Magmar and Electabuzz got evolutions, and Jynx hasn't gotten anything since. Some people think it's because Jynx being a little awkward, in that, like, yeah, there's a little iffy connotations to its design, especially in the earlier days. So I think they're not going to ever erase a Pokemon, like, completely. Like, they're always going to admit that yep, that's a Pokemon. But I think they are not, they don't want to draw attention to it if they don't have to. They're like, well, it's a thing, we're not going to deny it, but we're also not going to put any focus on it. So I think that's their thought with Jynx, which I think is really lame because, I don't know, I feel like, I don't know, there's things you could do with Jynx, like, yeah, give it an evolution or whatnot that, like, makes it even further from a potential caricature. I think Game Freak is a little more understanding of how to make a diverse, unique Pokemon now, and, like, how to really make Jynx whatever their original intention was, because they usually, like, really in Gen 1, they had, like, oh, we have an idea of what we want these things to be, but there are some Pokemon that, like, you can tell that, like, they weren't really 100% thought out. They were just like, yeah, this makes enough sense, people get it. And I think that's what happened with Jynx, just the most thing. Like, they tried to do this, like, I'm sure there's a Japanese, I think it's an ice, like a, I don't remember what she's called, or whatever. I don't even remember what I was saying. Anyway, I always liked the three of them. Did it just get darker? No, the screen didn't get darker. Maybe just get darker in my room. Kind of a weird day out. It's one of those days that, well, it's like 70 degrees out. But it's like oddly cloudy. So it's not cold, but it's definitely not warm. But it is 70 degrees and I'm pretty warm. Both you and I did a great job. Sure, you did a great job. You did a great job for. If I did a great job for you, I'm more than happy. Here's a little something extra too. 5 rare candies. Cool. You've got to admit, rare candies really get the job done. That is true. They do give your Pokemon a level, which we are going to need because of Mewtwo. I'm still thinking about Mewtwo, that he really kicked our butt. But that's fine. We still have a lot we can do before we fight Mewtwo again. And there's a lot of training we can do that we haven't even started yet. Coco, why does Coco hate these, like, caves things? Like, they're not that scary, Coco. Like, let's see, what's this? Like, special defense. I wonder if there's anything in here that, like, I would have wanted to get earlier. Do we have the TM for? No, yeah. I was gonna say, do we have the TM for Thunderbolt? Yeah, duh. Surge gave it to us. Because that's what I would expect. Oh, another rare candy. Nice. Maybe we have like 7 now? Because I feel like we got one in Cerulean Cave on Monday's episode. This should be Thursday's episode, if I'm thinking correctly. What time is it? Okay. Thunder! There we go! I don't really want Thunder, but it's good to have. That's weird. That's definitely going to be an Electrode. Boom, yeah. Cool. It's cool that I could easily tell that. Like, I was like, what? That Pokeball's upside down. Oh, this is a special battle? Why is this a special battle? I guess we'll fight and try to catch the special Electrode. Weird. All the other Pokemon we've had of, wow, what am I thinking of? All the special battles we've had have been like actual, like, serious encounter battles, like Snorlax and the legendary Pokemon. And like, yeah, Electrode is an encounter Pokemon like that, so it kind of makes sense. But it's just kind of weird that like they made such an emphasis on it. I don't know, whatever. We came here too late, so that's why it wasn't as cool as it would have been. As I was talking about it before, and now that I'm seeing Electrode, going off of the Nintendo kind of, or Game Freak kind of only half thought about some of the Gen 1 designs, in my opinion. Again, I think that adds to some of their charm, that they're simplistic and you can easily tell what they are, and like, oh, I get it. And anyone can look at whatever the Pokemon is and be like, oh, I get that reference kind of thing. As compared to other generations where their designs are more complicated, more interesting once you know them, but just looking at them can be harder to understand what they're 100% going for. Sometimes. Again, every generation has every version of a Pokemon, but so Electrode and Voltorb were originally based on mimics. Obviously, they've had this gimmick looking like Pokeballs since Gen 1, where if you talk to some Pokeballs, oh no, it's an Electrode / Voltorb, and they battle you. Just like other mimics in RPGs. So that makes me wonder how the design went. Because in games, the random pickups are Pokeballs. So it makes sense that the mimics would be Pokeball-like Pokemon. So what came first? Was it the Pokeball pickups? Or was it the Pokeball mimics? Because I would guess, honestly, that it was just the Pokeball pickups came first, you know? Like, they're designing the game, like, oh, we have to put our items on the field in something. So what do we want them to be? Well, Pokeballs make sense, because they're kind of everywhere in the game, and you use them to catch things. So yeah, that makes sense. They can just be hanging around places. So those, there we go. It's a ball. You pick up a ball. So then probably after that, they're like, well, we want to mimic Pokemon. Well, actually, a mimic in this game would be a Pokeball Pokemon. So that's, I think, how if I had to guess, that would be how Voltorb and Electrode came about. If I had to guess. Again, I could be completely off base, and maybe there is a story behind Voltorb and Electrode that I'm just like not understanding or whatever. But like I said, if I had to guess, that's what I would guess it would be. A lot of items here. This is the second Thunderstone we've got here. This is really unnecessary. By the time you have Surf, you can just go to Celadon City. Which is something I've always bothered me in later generations. Because again, my first experience of playing Pokemon was Red, Blue, and Yellow. So I was so used to a location like Celadon, just being able to go to a place and buy whatever. I'm not finding another Electrode. Just buying whatever stone I want. So it's so freaking frustrating when you get Stone Evolution Pokemon and the stones are so freaking late in the game. Which is even more frustrating that other games have department stores, but you can't always buy the catching stones. And I know it's just how the game's designed, so it is what it is. But it just has always bugged me when the stones can be really hard to get in some games, which means some Pokemon that you want to use are really hard to catch. Hard to get. Anyway, I'm gonna save again, because I don't really care. But we made it to the third legendary bird, who is number 2. The legendary bird Zapdos. So Zapdos is my favorite. Hands down. I've always thought Zapdos was the coolest. I've always liked electric types, so it kind of makes sense. But Zapdos is my favorite. He will always be my favorite. Oh, I thought Coco went first. So yeah, Zapdos is my favorite. I also think Zapdos is the best. Like, if you just compare all the legendary birds, and I think stat-wise, Zapdos is... They're all halfway decent, I think, but I think Zapdos is considered the best competitively, but I don't really care. Like, it's the electric type. All the other two are weak to electric type, so Zapdos is the best one. If you just go by that logic. And then its design, I love its design. I love that its, like, wings are like thunderbolts, and like, Zapdos is so cool. Again, I think Articuno would probably be my second favorite, because the Ice Bird's pretty cool, and I think Moltres has just always been my least favorite, because fire and whatever. I should have used Quick Attack, but that's fine. We've had little to no issue fighting Zapdos, because Coco is just Coco. But then I remember when Pokemon Go started, and like, people were making fun of Zapdos, and like, I know it had part to do with Instinct being like the theme of the team, Because if you don't remember, Pokemon Go had 3 teams. It had Team Valor. Oh, I never played Pokemon Go. Team Valor, what was the other one? Team Valor was red, and they were... What the hell was the blue one called? I genuinely don't remember. But I remember the yellow team was Team Instinct. And they all basically had a theme. The red one was based on, like, power, and the symbol was Moltres. The blue was Articuno, and they were based on knowledge. And then yellow was, like... What was it, like the friendship or whatever? It was the more little kiddish one. And it was represented by Zapdos. And people made fun of Zapdos for that reason. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. When did we decide Zapdos was the lame one of the 3? Like, I've always thought Zapdos was the coolest. And, like, it just always confused me that Zapdos was considered the worst one? Which I don't get, because, like, even, again, as I was saying, like, I think even competitively Zapdos was pretty good. So I never really got the insult, or whatever you want to call it, to Zapdos' coolness factor, but I don't know. That's just me, a obvious Zapdos fan. Again, mostly because it's an electric type, probably, because I gravitate toward... I don't know if I just gravitate towards their designs. The yellow and the black is a cool design combination. I think electricity is just a cool element to control. Maybe it's just because Pikachu is electricity, and then I've always connected Pokemon with electricity, and I don't know. I like electricity. I like electricity in games. I always have. So we're back to catching, and I don't have anything to really say now that I got that off my chest. That Zapdos is the coolest of the 3. So I guess I'll just see you in however many balls it takes. There we go. My God, that took a long frickin' time. Maybe people didn't like you, Zapdos, because you were a pain in the ass to catch in this game. I seriously wasted like 50 balls. And, oh my God, it had a pure crystallization of how I hate this catching mechanic. I got an excellent. It didn't even shake. It popped out immediately. I used one of the golden berries. Yeah, it slowed the circle, the reticule for a bit, but it didn't. After the one ball I threw, Zapdos started darting around again. I mean, God, like, I freaking hate catching Pokemon in this game, and I think we are basically done. This legendary bird Pokemon is said to appear when sky turns dark and lightning showers down. I don't even remember what the other 2 said, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, dear Lord, that took forever. I have to buy so many... I'm probably going to go buy Ultra Balls just to make sure I have them, but... Oh, Coco, we did it. Okay. That will do it, and this should be a warp to the exit. So yeah, this was a optional dungeon that we could have done much earlier, but like I said, I wasn't going to use Zapdos, so it's fine that we waited until now. In the next episode, we're going to probably start doing some things that are really random. And I think I'm going to see when Celadon. I think? I'm not 100% sure. See you guys later.